All right, everybody. We are here, episode 11 of Dave's R&R Rambles and Reviews with your host, of course, Dave. And we're going to start this quick episode by giving ourselves a round of applause. We hit the nail right on the head of that Stanley Cup Finals. The Avalanche win the series 4-2. So we hit the over on games of 5.5. It went 6. We hit that at minus 130, and then we had Avalanche to win 4-2 at plus 425. So that's definitely good for our books. That's good for our units. So let's keep a winning idea, winning posture, just winning vibe going with bets going forward. That's probably the biggest bet we've hit so far, so we're going to keep that vibe going. This episode, however, is very heavily music based because there's two big things I want to talk about. We're a week late to this one, but the album definitely fell a dollar short. Drake's Honestly Nevermind. And I want to kind of review Machine Gun Kelly's mainstream Sellout tour. So we'll start with Drake. Arguably considered by many the GOAT rapper of the current generation, Drake released a surprise album. He put out a post on social media the night before, Honestly Nevermind. Album had like an old school vibe, kind of thought it would be like, in my opinion, like trap vibes. We'd be hearing like early 2000s rap vibes. And he switched up the style again. This is very house heavy vibes. A lot of EDM influence in the house music. You could tell the whole thing was produced by Black Coffee. It had a lot of unique EDM sounds to it. But for Drake, it just didn't hit the mark for me. A lot of it fell flat. First couple songs in, I was falling asleep in my car listening to it on the way home. And I just couldn't believe it. It's a couple albums in a row where I really feel like he's dropped the ball. He still puts out a lot of very good features. We saw that on Jack Harlow's album, but it's just not the Drake that everyone highly anticipates anymore. I'm sure this sound has a good chance to take off in the fall. It's probably going to be some darty season music like the hour before the pregame where you're drinking a couple beers music, but it didn't resonate. It didn't hit. There are a couple songs I did like on the album. The big one that everyone's talking about is Massive. I mean, that has the kind of unique sound to it. I think that's going to be a big summer song. It's not my favorite on the album, but that was probably the best of the EDM sounding songs on the album. The two songs that really stuck out to me the most that are my favorites are Sticky and Jimmy Cooks with 21 Savage. I feel like any Drake fan who's became a fan back when he was really honed in on the rapping instead of the singing, where he did a little bit of mix back in the day, they'll love these two songs because they're very rap oriented. He drops a bunch of good lines. Those are definitely the highlights of this album. Massive, it's going to be a massive song if we're being honest, but Sticky and Jimmy Cooks are the real highlights. This album doesn't have too much playback ability to me. There's not a lot of songs I've listened to maybe more than twice. And at the end of the day, when you're an artist as high up as Drake is, who's considered one of the top artists of our generation, you have to deliver every album that you put out. So this album for me, the album pretty much describes it. Honestly, never mind listening to half the songs on this album ever again. It's a 3 out of 10 for me, so I'm super disappointed in Drake's effort with this album. But we're switching up the genre a little bit here. Now we're going to Machine Gun Kelly, who started out as a rapper and has transitioned into arguably the biggest pop punk star right now. He kind of brought this whole punk vibe back to the mainstream. A lot of people are digging it. The albums sound very well. There's a lot of people who hate it because it's not his old stuff. They hate it because he kind of has taken over the scene and taken over the lane of the pop punk music. But it's selling really good, and he just went on tour for his new album, The Mainstream Sellout. And I'm a huge MGK fan myself. I've been a fan since before Lace Up. I remember going to the actual Lace Up tour at the Baltimore Downstage, maybe a couple hundred people. So it's crazy going from that to this. I saw this most recent tour in Charlotte, North Carolina at the Spectrum Center. So it's just like there were probably more people in the pit in Charlotte than there were at that soundstage show about 9 years ago, which is just insanity to me because the Lace Up Tour was 2013, and this tour delivered on every aspect. There's one thing that you can't deny about Machine Gun Kelly, even if you hate his music. He puts on an excellent live show. He goes out there, he gives the crowd what they want, a bunch of energy, lots of passion in the music. You can tell he's not really lip singing out there, he's doing a lot of his own vocals. This tour, the production was up 10 notches from anything I've ever seen, even from the Tickets tour outside in Charlotte at a smaller venue, the Metro. I mean, without spoiling too much of the props, just like the intro to the tour was insane. Music-wise, you're looking at a lot. Pretty much every song off Mainstream Sellout besides a handful of them. He plays a lot of stuff off Tickets to My Downfall as well. He doesn't have too many old songs in there past that. A couple from El Diablo, but really besides that, it's a lot of the punk stuff, which is to be expected since that's his big selling point right now. So overall, that tour, I highly, highly recommend it. I'm sure if you're a Machine Gun Kelly fan, you bought tickets to the tour. If you have friends going and you're not the biggest fan, still go. It's such a great show. He puts out so much energy. And in my books, Mainstream Sellout Tour, Machine Gun Kelly, 10 out of 10. Just can't get too much better of a live show than that. So Drake got 3 out of 10 for his album. Machine Gun Kelly, 10 out of 10 from his Mainstream Sellout Tour. And I'm going to leave y'all with one more bet because we're riding this hot streak from the Stanley Cup. This is an entertainment bet, which you can't find on too many books in America, but if you're out there listening elsewhere and have books elsewhere, this is a really interesting bet that's coming up within the next week or so here. It's about a week and a couple days away. What is Thor Love and Thunder's opening weekend domestic U.S. box office grossing? The over-under is set at $179 million. This one we have to take the over at even odds. Doctor Strange, I could be wrong, but I believe it hit around that 170 range, and Thor is a lot more mainstream of a superhero than Doctor Strange, especially after Ragnarok. The hype for this movie is insanely high. It's got the Guardians of the Galaxy in it. I don't see how it doesn't hit over 179 million. So if you can find that on your book, it's at even odds right now, plus 100. You get the exact amount back. That's great juice for this. I think it's going to be in the 180 million easily. So Thor Love and Thunder over 179 million opening weekend. Cash that in. It has to be locked in before July 1st. This episode's dropping Tuesday morning, so you have 3 days, people. Use those 3 days to get this locked in. Thor Love and Thunder over 179 million. Our first entertainment bet on the pod. These are bets I'm usually good at, so lock that in. And that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Apologize for missing last week. Life was just crazy. Had a lot of stuff going on, so I didn't get to record. Maybe we'll get a twofer in this week. We'll see. Maybe we'll have some special guests coming up. We'll see. We're just going to keep rolling and see where this ride takes us. Like, support, follow, download, social media at Dave's R&R. Always feel free to interact. If you want to come on the show, let me know. We can set something up. Just keep up all the support. I truly do appreciate it. And everyone, make sure y'all have a good week.